those people continue to filter in, I would just once again put out the ask for a minutes taker. Feel free to volunteer
Martin,
yourself. Yes.
Martin, I think Lucas, and I think he's gonna do that. So.
Oh, thank you, Lucas. Saves us some time, some precious time, since we have a packed agenda. Not really. I'll give it another minute and we'll get started. All right, good day, everyone. Welcome to TSV area. I hope we all remembered our pitchforks. Thank you to Lucas for taking the minutes today. This is the Notewell. You've seen this probably about 8 times already this week and many, many times before it. If you have any questions about it, just please type it in your favorite search engine. Basically, you know, this covers some behavioral rules and so just how to handle intellectual property at IETF. I think in other working groups, there's been a bit of an emphasis on the code of conduct this cycle. We're really asking, this is not usually a problem in TSV area, but in at least this meeting, but you know, just treat each other with respect, please. And you know, if we find examples of unprofessional behavior as leaders, we will try to call that out and establish that as not the norm and how we want to do things. I don't anticipate that being a problem in this group, but just you know, it's something we're sharing across the board. So this is the agenda. We were going to have a talk, but it fell through at kind of the last minute. So you are likely to get out of here early, and I encourage you to go in and gather and mingle after this. We're just going to run through the regular review of what the area did, and we'll open up for open mic. So this should be a quick one. We're not going to have a Jabber scribe because I think Zahed and I can probably manage looking at Jabber as much as needed. All right, here we go. Would anyone like to bash the agenda? Okay. All right, here's what's going on in working groups. I think the 3 main things are Ian Sweat is stepping down from IPPM, and Marcus Eilar has already joined, and he will start this week. Thank you, Marcus, for volunteering, and thank you, Ian, for your contributions to the working group. Similarly, TRAM is, well, my intention, as I announced on the list, is to shut down TRAM. There's 1 document remaining, which is kind of in deep freeze right now, frankly, and nothing has happened as working group for a while. So the draft is expired, so it's sort of nowhere right now. But should the work to do PMTUD and TRAM resume, that work will occur in the TSVWG working group, and TSVWG will have custody of all the TRAM RFCs. So like I said, I've announced this on the relevant lists. If you have any problems, please raise them at open mic. I plan to push the button immediately after this meeting and formally close it. Otherwise, you can read what's going on. Alto's starting its new charter immediately after this in session 3. The charter is done, and it's going to launch its new work. And other than that, drafts are just sort of progressing. I don't know, but there's much else to say. I will say this is of general interest to, in my working groups at least, the one thing that might be of general interest to the transport community is kind of the core TCP stuff is beginning BIST and TCPM. Like 793 is almost at the finish line. Cubic is in working group last call. And I'm very much looking forward to having a more modern congestion control formally standardized. And then there are a number of reasons that we're looking to BIST 5681, which is kind of the core loss recovery and document for TCP. And we're looking for authors at this time. So if this is interesting to you, please contact the TCPM chairs. Zahed, do you want to highlight anything in your working groups?
Yes, let's do that. So, well, I'll just run down the list here. So DTN working group, we're doing some rechartering. We have been putting up a new charter for ISG internal review when there were some blocks, and we worked through those things. I think the blocks were just lift off, so it will progress then for next phase. And the focus of this rechartering is more like doing some ops and management work and addressing work, and along with the transport related issues that they have been doing. I mean, this is an interesting time for DTN because people are deploying and we're getting lots of input how it works. NFS before, I think business as usual, mostly working on the security document so far, and also these RDMA version 2 documents. Quick, I think we just came from, a lot of us came from Quick working groups, so you already know what's going on there. There are traps in the AD review. I'm going through them. Those are very good, well-written documents so far I've seen. The greasing just completed the working last call, and I think there was some discussion we heard in the today's Quick meeting about multipath Quick. RMCAT, after a long time taking up work, that I think that is the last working document to work with. This is about how you send the feedback. TAPS, I will say business as usual. The TAPS architecture document when past the working last call, and then interface documents is working last call. So that's it so far from my working groups.
A couple of other things. First of all, I neglected to thank the TRAM chairs, Gonzalo and Simon, for your. Actually, frankly, TRAM predates my deep involvement in the area as a whole, but obviously, there's a lot of documents that came out of TRAM, and they were the ones that brought it along. So, thank you for your contributions to the IETF. I also want to talk a little about the last little phrase down there. There's a lot of multipath work going on in the area all of a sudden. MPTCP closed a couple years ago. There's some SCTP proposals, and by multipath I mean sending data concurrently over multiple paths, not failover. There's some SCTP drafts whose status is in seriousness is not frankly certain. And TSVWG has adopted MPDCCP, and based on what just happened in Quick, it looks like they're likely to adopt MP Quick. I think those drafts are all properly housed in the individual protocol places. That said, there are a lot of common problems in multipath, like scheduling and congestion control, that in my view are not really resolved. And I think I think Quick in particular is an excellent experimental platform for multipath experimentation because it's likely to get through the internet. And like Zahid and I are kicking around the idea of some sort of multipath group, maybe a research group, maybe a working group for that research. And if you have any thoughts on this, whether it's mature enough to be a working group or not, to handle that there. Yeah, Lucas, go ahead.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, just on that note, the presentation that was just given to the Quick working group was, effectively a very small core of what multipath Quick could be from a protocol level to help deliver some of the use cases, and a lot of what you just mentioned, like scheduling and stuff, is like out of scope, but clearly needs to be done somewhere. Maybe in parallel, maybe somewhere else. I don't quite know. So I support the general idea of someone thinking about this problem. So thank you, and
sure.
Yeah, I'll be watching and can participate maybe in some way.
Yeah, Zahid and I will have another conversation with Colin, and if there's a lot of work sitting around, and we'll put out a call to see if there's work sitting around out in the wings that's ready to go in a group somewhere. And then lastly, SCTP. There are a lot of SCTP drafts floating around TSVWG. Apparently, again, it's not 100% clear how many of those are going to be adopted, but I do understand that there's sort of an infinite stream of proposals that the TSVWG is working through, and that is potentially grounds to do a working group just to do all this SCTP stuff. And I think the question is how much that work benefits from being in the TSVWG. TSVWG is obviously quite loaded with stuff. So if they're just a bunch of people sitting on their hands until the SCTP people stop talking, then maybe it makes sense to be its own group. But if there's a lot of valuable cross-fertilization that happens, maybe it should stay where it is. So we welcome your input on that as well. Okay, not the most productive interval in terms of documents, but there's a ton of things sitting in the AD queue. It's at various stages of AD and ISG eval. So some of that's on us and some of that's on authors responding to feedback. But regardless, we did ship one thing from DTN, the default security context, and 2 things went out the RFC door. Wait, 9040 I think was before. Anyway, regardless. 9097, of course, congratulations to Al and his co-authors on the IP capacity metrics draft, which was spent forever in RC head for various reasons. And of course, there's a bunch of stuff sitting in the queue that's waiting on things, most notably HTTP3, but certainly a lot of other items as well. You can see at the bottom there. Congratulations to the authors. So this is this is our 3 times a year TSV art review team discussion. So the TSV area review team helps us in our AD reviews by like highlighting transport issues in drafts from across the IETF if they are judged to have any transport implications at all. So thank you to the reviewers for doing these reviews. I've got there in parentheses the number of reviews they had to do in the last cycle since IETF111. So I think, we're certainly interested in having more volunteers, and I think that number indicates that the load is not huge, that we ask people to review less than 1 draft per cycle. So thank you to the volunteers for having a big enough pool to make the workload light. And if you would like to join, I think it's a great way to get a window into some of the other things going on in the IETF that are of interest.
So just one correction here. I think Jonah reviewed 1. So sorry, Jonah, we didn't really.
Maybe it happened recently because
that happened recently. I think after we uploaded.
Well, thank you, Jonah.
So thank you.
And that is the last slide. So let's go ahead and go to open mic. And we invite your comments on really anything at all, but we've had some discussion about new groups and tram shutting down. So let us know what you think. Spencer.
Yeah, you can always count on me, right? Thank you for the description of multipath in the session. You're mentioning the impact of multipath on things like congestion control, and I think that there are. I think I'm seeing other impacts of multipath that could come up. I think one of the things I've been talking about for a bit is the thing about the difference between maybe I should be describing this as low-level scheduling decisions versus high-level strategy decisions. Basically, what are you trying to do versus what are you trying to do with this packet? One of the things that has come up in a discussion recently that I'm still trying to get my head around is the thing about interaction between different kinds of traffic within an application, and that's still ICCRG territory as far as you guys are concerned, or how do you see that?
I don't think I've got a well-formed charter for this group, whether it's research or a working group. I mean, first of all, if it's a research group, that's not even really my business.
Yeah.
But ICCRG is obviously doing a good job. I know Jana at times has expressed a little skepticism that he has the right skill set in that group to really review multipath congestion control. So if if he wants to take it, I'm not going to try to rip it out of his hands. But I think the point that I would like to make is that we now have 4 multipath transports in some stage of evolution.
Yeah, we're saying multipath, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so they're now 4. They're
sure.
so they're full multipath transports, and they all have like some sort of failover mechanism, and to do true like multipath delivery has this common set of problems that don't really live in TSPM or Quick Working Group or TSVWG, or they could live in TSVWG, but I think that's too much in TSVWG. So there ought to be a forum for this stuff as this matures, whether it's research or working group. I'm totally open to people's assessment of the maturity of these solutions. But that's what we're inviting comment on. Because I had even
No, I think
sorry?
you said it all. I think you said it all. I think the main important factor is that somebody is working on it, thinking about those things, and whether it's a research group on an existing one or a new one, we can always discuss that one.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say one more thing, and then I'll shut up and turn my video off. But the thing we did with HIP in the past, where the research, it was the same problem, but the research topics had a research group, and the stuff that had matured to engineering was being done in the IETF with engineers and things like that. But I mean, there was overlap between the two groups and things like that. That's not a guarantee for success, and there are different ways that can be done, but just something to mention to you all, since you are going to be the ones that have to figure out what to do, right? Thank you.
Thanks, Spencer. Magnus?
Yes. I just need to notice that as one of the triage in the TSV art, you missed also Michael Scharf. He had also done a review, so just in the last week. So
okay, so like the slide specifically says through 1026, so or 2610 for those of you not in the United States. So sorry that I didn't bother to update the slide to reflect late reviews.
Yeah.
But thank you to all of you. It is really enormously helpful for me. I know personally is when I do ISG reviews to have these in hand. Anything else, Magnus? Okay. This could be a very short session, I guess. Going once, going twice. All right, we'll see you all. Oh, Lucas.
Oh, well, Lucas.
Just under the window. It's just in time.
I was just kidding. Sorry. I had an idea, but I'll save everyone the pain. So don't worry.
We got nothing but time, but okay. All right. Well, in the case, we'll see you out in the halls. And if not that, then we'll see you at IETF113, hopefully in person somewhere in Europe. So bye, everyone.
Bye. I'll see you in other meetings.